Hi, I'm Vanessa Hudson, leader of Animal Welfare Party, and I'd like to talk today on why I believe the time for tackling speciesism is right now. So, one of the core beliefs of our party is that speciesism has no more place in modern society than racism or sexism. Speciesism, by that term, I mean assigning special rights or privileges or considerations to one species, or to put it more simply, believing and acting as if the lives of one species matter more than others. And around the world, our societies are incredibly speciesist. Humans make up just 0.01% of all life on Earth. That means 99.99% of life isn't human. But our parliaments, our assemblies, our councils, our decision-making bodies, they're almost entirely focused on human issues. And far too little thought is given to how the decisions that are taken in these forums will affect the other species that aren't human, the 99.99% of life on Earth. I believe that disregard for other species is how we've ended up in the current climate and biodiversity crises that we currently find ourselves in, where up to 1 million species are at risk of extinction and in which our very own survival is actually threatened. I believe that disregard for other species is how the UK, a country that proudly likes to think of itself as a thought leader on animal welfare, has actually become a nation in which animal suffering takes place on a large, unfathomable scale every single day of the year. 225 million non-human lives are currently being farmed in units, barns and fields across our isles to cater to our human desire to taste animal products. That's a farmed animal population 3 times bigger than our own human population of 66 million. And the feeding and watering of those animals is ravaging our planet, both here in the UK and overseas. And many of those lives, particularly the 188 million chickens living here right now in the UK, they are living lives of utter suffering and misery, lives that I would say are barely worth living. It's how we've become a country in which over 30 million day-old male chicks are killed each year by suffocation or high-speed maceration. New life snuffed out, surplus to the requirements of the egg industry. We're a country in which dairy calves, male dairy calves, are removed from their mums at 1 or 2 days old and either killed straight away or sent overseas for veal or further fattening. They're removed so that our species can drink the milk that their mums' bodies had produced for them. It's how we've become a country that takes thousands of exotic animals from the wild for our own species to keep as pets or to provide us with entertainment, even though the environment we expect them to live in here is wholly inappropriate, and expressing natural behaviour will forever be impossible for those animals. It's how we've become a society that, whatever we may believe about ourselves, is still using animals for almost whatever purpose we see fit. As a society, I believe we have been preoccupied with our own species and willfully blind to the animal and environmental suffering we are causing for a long time. But if ever there was a time to start dismantling speciesism, I believe that time is now. To many, the coronavirus pandemic has served as a wake-up call that our use and abuse of the natural world is not only unsustainable, but deadly. We've seen an interest in plant-based products surge during the lockdown. There have been calls from all quarters for our governments not to return to business as usual, not to bail out our animal agriculture industries, to stop hunting and trading wild animals, to bring intensive farming to an end, and to start leading on the transition to a plant-based food system. We have had time to reflect upon our own confinement and hopefully develop a newfound aversion to the idea that other lives should be confined in order to satisfy our own pleasures and curiosities. Perhaps we are emerging from lockdown as a society with a new appetite to reflect upon those beliefs and behaviours which don't serve us well, which don't reflect who we want to be as a species. If I have one hope for the weeks and months ahead, it's that as animal advocates, whenever we see speciesism, we call it out. We use the word speciesism. We make sure it's the word that becomes known and understood, not only by animal advocates, but by everyone in society. Over the past 20 years, we have seen the first political parties for animals form, first in Europe and now around the world. And there are now over 20 parties for animals taking in Europe, Asia, Australia, North and South America. And slowly but surely, our parties have been gaining the first representatives for animals in our decision-making bodies. And I'm happy to say that there are now over 100 dedicated representatives for animals around the world, including one here in the UK since 2017. Of course, 100 is not enough, but it is a start, and I believe that number is going to grow. I believe it's crucial that parties for animals contest elections and start to tackle the species exclusivity of our parliaments, our assemblies and our councils. In this way, and even if we don't win, we aim to make sure that animal and environmental issues stay on the political agenda and that they're not sidelined, that our speciesism is constantly challenged. Looking to the near future, May 2021 brings 2, perhaps 3 significant elections for Animal Welfare Party. The Scottish Parliament election, the London Assembly election and the Welsh Senate election. All run under systems of proportional representation, in which smaller parties like ours tend to perform better. We'll be taking part in these elections because we believe that by doing so, we play an important role in establishing in the minds of the public, other politicians and governments that these tracts of land that humans seek to govern and manage, they're not just home to the human species. This is home to millions of other lives too. Those lives, they're lives we can no longer ignore. They're lives that we must protect. A fairer, more equitable society now feels within our grasp. I hope that collectively we can work together and bring others on board to reach for it. Thank you.